All right, do you guys see the PowerPoint slide?
Yes.
All right. Control. Cool. Let's learn about the control flow, right? So, uh, actually, I would like to go by this slide over here. So if you open up your SATEC portal and you scroll down, we have a slide called control flow. Okay. And let's just go by order. Boolean variables. So in JavaScript, who can tell me what are the Boolean variables? How many Boolean variables do we have?
Two, true and false.
Exactly. We have two Boolean variables in JavaScript, and they are true and false. Okay. And true and false can be assigned to a variable. Right. Let's try to explain the control flow first, but I think it's just moving before the concept is just moving to show the actual items. Right. So what is control flow? By default, right? Our JavaScript code is executed from top to bottom. Okay. And line by line. However, we can change this with control flow. Right. However, we can change this with control flow. Control flow allows our program to make decisions about what code is executed and when. All right. So if just take a look at the code on the left. Oops, no, don't stop. Escape to close it. Okay. Let's just go. So our code will go from top to bottom. As we go along, right, from top, the JavaScript will read this line of code, and it will keep reading line by line. When it comes down here, it will console log in our console. Okay, so we go from top to bottom. This is how the code execution goes in JavaScript. But of course, we can control flow allows our program to make decisions about what code is executed and when. We can change the conditions over here, right? We have a lot of as part of the control flow, we have if else statements, we have ternary operators, we have logical operators that we can use to control the flow of our code. Okay, so for instance, let's take a look at the right here. So the start point right here is where we start from top all the way to the first line of code. Okay, and let's say if you have a Boolean called hungry, right? The Boolean can be true or false, right? If the true, are you hungry? Yes. Is there any food in the house? Also has the two options, yes or no, right? Is there any food in the house? Yes. Do you want to eat it? Yes or no? Okay. So based on the control, based on the if else statement, we can control the flow of our code and which code to be executed and when it can be executed. All right, so we have two options. Sometimes we might have multiple options, not only like yes or no. If you are using only if else statement, it's gonna be yes or no. If you are using if else if else if, right? Multiple else if, which we will see in our code, then we might have to there will be lots of different options to execute the code. But as you guys can see over here, we have only two options for each condition over here. Okay, yes or no, yes or no. And based on that, we see the result. Don't order or order food from outside. Okay, conditional statements. Conditional statements are basically checks to see if a certain condition is either true or false. If the condition is true, then run code A. If it's false, then run code B. Basically, if else statement right over here. Are you hungry? If it's true, then move on to this side. Are you hungry? If it's false, then move on to the right side. All right, that's how the conditional statements work. And we have a lot of different conditional statements in JavaScript. Okay. We'll go one at a time. All right. So the JavaScript control flow, we have conditionals. Okay, so the conditionals contain if statements, we have switch, and we have a ternary operator. Okay, so let's take a look at if statement over here. Now forget about this code. You guys can run, you guys know the REPL, right? Did you guys sign up for the REPL?
Yep.
All right, cool. Just open up the REPL, right? Just go down here. Okay, so all right, so in the home page, and create REPL and click Node.js and give a name to your project, right? It doesn't have to be a specific thing, but yeah. And then you can click create REPL. It will create the REPL for you. We don't need this AI thing. We need the console log. That's fine. And we can move this console log, just drag and drop right at the bottom. Okay, and then guess I don't need this shell anymore. I would like to see my console at the bottom, not on the right side, because my screen is really tight right now. All right, let's take a look at if statements. If statement accepts an expression with a set of parentheses. Okay, so how do we start our if statement? Just like this, if and parentheses. And of course, we have to put a condition over here. Okay, and we need to open up and close the curly braces. All right, this is where we put our code down here. This is where we put our code. All right, so this is our simple for if statement. And now condition. What kind of condition we can put in here? So based on the condition true or false, right? As we said that we have two Boolean values, true and false. True or okay, true or false. All right, so
Azamat, quick question. Is Replit paid? I mean, like it's asking me to join the Replit core.
no, it's not paid. It's not paid.
Okay.
It's a Ripple, yeah, Ripple.com. You can, as soon as you signed up, you can click the GitHub access, right? There is a link called, there's a button called use my GitHub account to access the Ripple.
Yes, I do have that, but I'm trying to create a new like file, a new Replit, and it says that you've hit the limit for REPLs in the starter plan. Upgrade to Replit core
Right.
for unlimited REPLs.
I also had the same problem, but then I just went to the old one, that I used to before, and I just renamed them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I also have the
Well,
same issues.
What kind of account do I have? Account, I don't have any payment roles, blah, 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 official teams. Yeah, no, I don't think.
Yes,
I don't
no,
think.
it's correct. It's you have to pay because they have a limited. So you can create limited folder, and then after when you reach the, then you have to pay. Yes, I also have the same as in Janar also.
Wow, interesting. I've
I'll
never
just
seen it
reuse
from-
the previous Replit then.
Yeah, I'm also doing the same.
Oh, interesting. You guys probably have like millions of projects then. to hit the limit. I don't know. I've never seen that before, but yeah, that's how issue.
I
Cool.
only have 3 pages. Not that I'm doing a lot of reps.
Yeah, we can take a look. It shouldn't be a problem. Like I do have a personal, like individual account. It shouldn't ask to pay it, but yeah. As I said, if statement accepts an expression, right? This is basically condition. It's an expression, right? So wrapped with the parentheses. If the condition over here evaluates to true, right? Then the code inside this body will execute. Okay. Sometimes you don't have to use else statement. Okay, so if you are using a function, you can just return something over here. But sometimes if you have to use this the second option, right? The first option, if it evaluates to true, then this code 1 will execute. If it's false, then we're expecting that another option, which will be put as else. Okay. And this is gonna be code 2. This code 2 will be executed if condition is false. If the condition is true, then code 1 will execute. If the condition is false, then code 2 will execute. Let's put an example here, right? So instead of condition, I can put true over here. Okay, and then I can just type console.log code 1. The same thing for move it down here, code 2. Okay, so if true, all right, that's fine. So if I enter now, it's running, and as you guys can see, since I do have an expression over here, the condition is true, I'm running code 1. Now, if I convert this one to false, and I click enter, now in the second run, I'm running code 2. Okay, so we don't have to specifically explicitly specify this condition as true or false. We can put some sort of variables. Okay, let's say constant is mail sent, for instance. Okay, let's say true, and then we can grab this variable and put it right over here. Right, and then we check if is mail sent. Is mail sent is a Boolean data type. It has a Boolean data type. Okay, because it's a true, it can be false too. It's not a string. Okay, so if is mail sent, if it's true, I'm still running console.log code 1. If I run it again, console code 1. But if it's false, I will be running code 2. This is how the if statement works. All right, so this we can extend this if else statement, adding else if clause. All right, so we're gonna have if else if, maybe another else if, and then at the end else, and finish our code like this. How does all this work? Let's take a look. Right, so let's create a constant variable called. If you see like this code suggestion, you can, if it's too much annoying for you guys, you can come down here AI and just click enable, and it will not tell you, it will not suggest you any piece of code. All right, so let's take a look at the constant size, for instance, 100. And I would like to just comment this one out. Okay, and I'm going to say if size, oh my goodness, if size bigger than 100, console.log big. All right, and I can put else if, but when you put else if, you have to put another condition, right? When you put else if, you have to put another condition. You cannot do like this, right? Because else if is expecting another condition, just like what we have for if. Okay, you have to put another condition over here. But if you are ending your code with else does not need a condition. Right? Else does not need any parentheses. You don't have to put the condition here. It will just execute if it hits that point. It will execute this code if it comes to that point where else code will be executed. But for now, we would like to use else if. Now we have to put condition. If the size, right? If the size is bigger than 20, now I would like to put copy paste over here and just type medium. Another else if, just copy and paste over here. Okay, just bring it over here. Else if the size is bigger than 4, for instance, let's just put a small. Yeah, let's just make it the size 10, right? So, and then at the end, let's just put else and put a console log over here. So big, medium, oops. All right, what do you guys think it will print out now? After an initial if block. Yes, go ahead, please.
A small.
No.
It's going to print out small. Okay, because our condition, does this meet the condition? No. Then we skip it. We go to the next else if. Oh my goodness, stop it. Does this our size meet this condition? No. We skip it. We move on to the next else if. Does this one meet our condition? Yes. Then console.log small. Right? As soon as it prints out this one, it will not move on to the next one, because if else condition statement will end over here, and we'll just move it to the next line of code. Okay, to the next line of code. All right, so right over here, we used comparison operator. Okay, so comparison operators, we use them to compare two values and return true or false. Okay, we use comparison operators. They're called comparison operators. And what are those? What are the comparison operators? We have less than sign, we have a bigger than sign, we have less than equal sign, we have a bigger than equal sign, okay? Bigger than equal sign. We also have not equal sign, okay? Or equal sign and triple equal sign. These are comparison operators, and we're going to take a look at these over here. Okay, we're going to take a look at this over here. But yeah, most of the time, yeah, of course, we will be using all of them. But right over here, we use this guy over here. Okay, instead of a bigger sign, could have just put the bigger than equal sign. But yeah, we use comparison operators to compare two values, right, and return true or false, depending on the validity of the comparison operator. All right. I believe that you guys don't have any issues with these guys because it's just comparing two numbers. Okay. Most of the time, these guys are used to compare different data types. I mean, we can use for regular things too. Okay, but usually we use them to compare different data types. Okay, right over here in the console, it's not allowing to type. If I can add console AI deployment authentication, where's my where's my shell? All right, cool. Okay, so right over here, guys, we can type some JavaScript code. As we were comparing over here, right? The size is 10. If I type 10 is bigger than 100, it's displaying false. Is 10 bigger than 4, it is displaying true. Okay, because of the fact that it is true over here, we console logged small. Okay, so now let's try to use these guys over here. This over here, not equal to. It means not equal to, okay? Not equal to. Just remember that. So what we can do here is that if 100 equal to 100, it is going to be true. Okay, we're using this guy over here first. But what's the difference between this one and this triple equal sign?
Also text the type.
Exactly, yeah. So if you use guys only 2 double equal sign, it will only compare the values. It will only compare the values. But if you use a triple equal sign, it will also compare the value and the data type of the values. Okay, so for instance, right now it is fine. But if I convert this 100 on the right side to a string, it is still going to be true because the JavaScript will convert these string numbers into a regular number and then compare the values. It will convert this regular number into a regular number and compare the values. All right. So if I change to triple equal sign, now this side is number and this side is a string. Okay. Is a number equal to string? No. Because of the fact that this triple equal sign will compare the value and the data type on both sides. Okay. In that case, number is not equal to string. That's why it is false. But if both sides are number, then it's going to be true. Or if the both sides are string, in this case, let me convert this 100 to string. Now it's going to be true. Okay, so just remember this double equal sign will compare only the value of left side and right side, but triple equal sign will compare the value at the same time the data type of that value. If both sides value and data type matches, then it will print out true. If the values match, however, the data type doesn't match it, then it will print out false for this triple equal sign. All right, we did compare with triple equal sign and with double equal sign. How about not equal to? Just very simply, 100 not equal to 200. It's very obvious, right? 100 not equal to 200. Yes, correct. It's not equal to 200. And it's printing out true. But if I put 100 not equal to 100, it's going to be false because 100 is equal to 100. Right? Same thing again. If I put 100 not equal to a string 200, yes, it's not equal to. Right? It's not equal to because one side is a number and the other side is a string. What's going to happen if I do this one? 100 not equal to 100. It is still true because this one, because of the fact that there is the double equal sign after the exclamation sign, it is also comparing the data type of both values. All right, so one thing we skipped was we can also use just single one, right? Not equal to. But our JavaScript always recommends to use this one and this one. Okay, this one and triple equal sign. JavaScript recommends our avoid using this single equal sign and this double equal sign. So if I use 100 not equal to 200, it is still true. If I put 100, it is false. But if I put string 100, it's going to be false. Okay, how about the switch? Switch is another part of the control conditionals, which can change the flow of our code. Okay, which can change the flow of our code. Let me comment this one out and clear my screen. I can exit it out. Yep. Bring back to the console. So the switch statement. The switch statement provide a means of checking an expression against multiple case clauses. If a case or if a condition matches, the code inside that block will be executed. So how do we write if else statement like this? But how do we write our switch statements? Okay, the switch, we just write switch and start with the parentheses. Okay, and we open up the curly braces, and then we start typing case. All right, we start typing case, and we might have multiple cases. All right, so the cases, we might have something like this, and it will end with colon at the end and piece of code over here. Let me just type console.log case 1. Okay, for other cases, we might have different cases again. Case 2. Oops. Okay, case 3. But the switch will definitely have to have a default case in this case, right? So default will be here without any condition over here or the matching expression, okay? It doesn't have to have it. So if default, what needs to be done? If none of these cases match, we somehow need to run our default case. this is the structure of our switch statement. But what we can write over here, okay? Let me create a variable called constant food is equal to salad. And I pass down this food. Okay, I pass down this food. And based on this food, I need to match my cases. I need to match my cases. For instance, if is the food pizza? Okay, is the food pizza? No. Is the food for instance lasagna? No. Let me write another one. Is the food a steak? No. Then what do you guys think we'll be printing out in the console log? None of these cases match. If none of these cases match over here, then our default case will be printed out in the console. All right, it says default. But let's say instead of steak over here, if I type salad right here, okay, because of the fact that inside my switch statement, the condition food is matching with my case over here, now I should be able to print out case 3. Okay. One thing we forgot to mention about this switch statement is that why do you guys think it is printing out case 3 at the same time default?
Because we haven't left the loop. We need to put break after when the condition is met.
Exactly. Yes. One main difference between this if-else statement and the switch statements is that in our if statement, if this condition meets, we will only print out this one and we will not go over these guys over here. Okay? But in the switch statements, if we print out this one right here, let's say in this case, if I type a pizza over here, okay, as you guys can see, oh, no, bring it back. As you guys can see, it is printing out all of the remaining. Since this case is matching with the pizza, it's printing out case 1, case 2, case 3, default. As I was saying, the main difference is that in the switch statement, we have to break out of this cycle with the keyword called break. With the keyword called break. Okay, so we have to put all for each case. Otherwise, it will still print out the remaining. It will still print out the remaining. So if I can run it again, since it's a pizza and my case pizza is matching with the food over here, it should print out only case 1 and it will skip the remaining because we have break for each of them. As you guys can see, case 1. Okay, so if I put salad, run it, case 3 only. All right, whenever you use switch statements, don't forget to use this break for each case you have. Otherwise, you will end up printing out the remaining case. You will end up executing the code blocks inside each case in our switch statements. There's a lot of use cases for switch, okay? And the same thing can be done in if statement, right? So if you try to convert this switch statement into if statement, you can do the same thing. You can just say if food, right? If food is equal to pizza, then console.log case 1, blah, blah, blah. All right, any questions regarding the switch and if-else statements?
Is it something that we can do with the switch, but what we can do with the else, if else?
Oh, you want to convert this with if-else?
No, I'm asking, is it something we can do with the switch, but we can't do it with the if else? I'm just trying to understand
Oh, I
why
see, I see, I see,
switch.
I see that.
And also the ternary one. Well, same question.
You can definitely achieve the same scenario with both options. Okay. I cannot think of anything like where we can use if but not switch, or where we can use switch but not if.
Mhm.
Okay. In this case, if you would like to convert this one to if-else statement, one simple example would be like, right? But again, you can definitely, if you can use the switch, you can definitely convert that one to if statement, okay? But in this case, for each condition, for each case over here, we have to type, for instance, food is equal to pizza. And then run console of log, case on, and else if, right? Lasagna, and else if salad, and else default will be just the default. Okay. Yeah, I can't think of any situation where we can use if but not switch.
But
I got
mostly what like for the future, when you get the job, like mostly everybody using the like if else is any situation why they can tell you no, don't use the if else, use the switch. I'm trying to understand the why we have the switch.
Well, yeah. One condition I can tell about the, for instance, not the switch, but ternary operator and if-else statement. Okay, maybe the switch too, because in the React, when we go to the React, we can use ternary operator inside the JSX. Okay, we can use the ternary operator inside JSX, for instance. If you have some sort of HTML code over here, we can use the ternary operator, but we cannot use if-else statements inside the JSX. That's the main point. Okay. But do not confuse yourself right now. Just learn how we can use switch, right? And how we can use if-else statements.
May I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
For example, when we're using the if else, right? So we can use the nested like loops. I don't know, the nested if else. Can we do the same with the switch? Like nested loop inside the switch or something like that? Can we do that too?
Oh, you're talking about let's say inside this case and then another switch inside this case.
For example, or the like loops, like for example, something. I just want to know if we use can we use the switch for the nested code, you know, the inside the switch, something like put a loop or something like that for the.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, you can definitely use, so basically you can run the code over here. Right, so it doesn't have to be a single line of code. You can run your loop over here. So the switch is basically trying to find which case is matching. If this case is matching, you can definitely run some code over here. You guys seen the for loop before? You guys know how to use the for loop?
Just
Yes.
try. Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So if the case is pizza, right? So let I is equal to 0 and I as less than
And
food
food.
at length, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And then we can say I plus plus. Oh my, plus plus. And then inside our curly braces, we can just type. Let me bring this console log over here. Oops. Okay, console log case 1. Instead of case 1, we can just print out the letters of the thing. All right, so what we can do here, food, and based on the index, we can print out the letters of each, basically P-I-Z-Z-A, right? We can definitely run some loop over here. But since the fact that our food does not match with the pizza, we're not running the loop. So let's convert this one to pizza. Now, as you guys can see, in my first loop, in my first iteration, I'm printing out the P and I, Z, Z, A. You can definitely run some code over here. You can definitely put the function name over here. You can call a function over here, and you can create the function somewhere else, or in some different location, like in a different file. Okay, you can definitely call the function name, or basically this block of code right over here. You can do anything you want. You can definitely run codes. Okay, so that is for a switch and ternary operator. Sometimes it's really hard to pronounce it for me, specifically, right? Ternary operator. This ternary operator is very useful in React applications. As I said, we can use ternary operator in JSX, but not if-else statement or switch statements. Ternary operator is a very short version of if-else statement. Okay, we'll have a condition over here, and we'll put the question mark. Okay, and then something like code block 1. Okay, and we have to put this colon. It's not a semicolon, it's a colon. And then code block number 2. If the condition is true, if the condition is, my goodness, if the condition is true, our code block 1 will be executed. If the condition is false, code block 1 and code block 2 will be executed. All right, code block 2 will be executed. All right, so let's check right now. So constant price, for instance, it's $20, $20. Okay, and we're gonna check if the price is above $15. Okay, if the price is above $15, we can just type expensive. Of course, you have to console log it, right? Console.log expensive. If the price is basically, if the price is if this side is true, then this will be executed. But if this side is false, basically meaning that the price is lower than 15, then we can just say cheap. Okay, as you guys can see, since our price is $20 and 20 is bigger than 15, yes, correct, then it will print out expensive. But if I put this guy over here like 14, then it should print out Oh, of course, I did not put it inside the console log. Cheap. Yeah, sometimes, guys, we might have to use a Turner operator inside another Turner operator. Okay. For instance, we said that let's price is less than 15. Okay. Oh, sorry, the price is bigger than 15. In this case, no, right? Let over here, we can create another Turner operator. Okay, we can create another Turner operator. What we can do here is that we can just say price. Okay, the price is if the price is okay, so let's just say if the price is above $10, if the price is above $10, I would like to create another Turner operator and console log. It's kind of cheap. Okay, if it's not, let's just say it's above 5. If it's above 5, if it's cheap, and if it is below 5, you can say really, really cheap. All right, it's just I'm just making it up right now. Okay, so let me just stop this switch operator for now because it's still printing out some stuff for us. Now, what we have here is that it's typed just cheap, right? So we have price, and we're not running this part of code. We're jumping to the next part of the code, and inside the next part of the code, we have another Turner operator, and checking the price. If the price is bigger than 5, then console.log cheap. If it's less than 5, it should print out really, really cheap. Let's put something less than 5. Let's just put it before. Now we have really, really cheap. Okay. The thing is that we can use some Turner operator inside another Turner operator. But of course, we have to make sure that we wrap it with the parentheses, not to confuse with these guys. Any questions related to if statements, switch, and Turner operators? Let me take a look. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention to you guys, I will learn about the Booleans, the false values. The JavaScript has a lot of false values. What do we mean by false values? I mean, on one hand, we have true values. On the other hand, we have false values. Okay, it does make sense to understand the false values first, because anything else will be true to value. Okay, if it's not falsy, then anything else will be true to values. So we have to understand what are the false values, and anything else other than the false values, it will be always true to values. Okay, what kind of false values do we have in JavaScript? As you guys can see on the screen, we have false is a false value. Whatever we can put inside our if statement over here, if it false, if it goes down to else statement, then it is definitely false value. Okay, you guys can put definitely anything over here. If false, do I have if else statement over here, which I can copy paste instead of typing the whole thing? All right, I'll just copy this guy over here. Good for the price, etc. Okay, so false. It is showing me right away which block of code will be executed. False value, true value. Okay, so the false, since it's a false value, it will execute the code block inside my else statement. All right, again, 0 is also false value. False value. False is definitely false value as the name suggests, right? What else do we have? Big int, don't worry about that. It says that it's just also false value. Just keep in mind. We have empty string. Empty string meaning it's also false value. It doesn't have like a string inside, right? If I type apple, since my string is full, right? It will print out the truth value. If my string is empty string, it will print out false value because there's nothing in there. Now this double quotes can be single quotes or it can be backticks. It doesn't matter what you put. It will always print out false value, right? This is an empty, this is an empty string. The length of the string is 0. Strings in JavaScript can be defined with double quotes, single quotes, or template literals, etc. Okay, null. Null is also false value. Okay, null is also false value. Undefined, you can also type undefined. It is also false value. All right. The weird thing that we have in JavaScript is also NaN. Who knows what's the meaning of NaN? It's
Not
called
a
not a
number.
number, right? Not a number. Just N, not a number. It is also false value. If I run this guy again, false value. So everything else other than these guys over here will be evaluates to true. Anything else other than these guys will evaluate to true. All right, we saw the if statement already. We're good on that. Comparison operators. All right, comparison operators, as we saw it, right? This A double equal sign B is equal. A double B, sorry, triple equal sign is going to be identical as this is a strict comparison, right? Not equal to and not equal to, not identical, not equal, not identical, and less than, bigger than, less than equal sign, and greater than or equal to. As you guys can see right here, for A triple equal sign B, it will be true if A is equal to B and the same type. Both of them are the same type. It will be true if A is not equal to B, can be different types, is not equal to B, or they are not the same type. All right, it is just suggesting us to watch out for these equal signs. All right, can I use something like this, guys? Constant A is equal to 10, and if A 200, which one will be printing it out?
the false value?
Yeah, it will definitely print out. No, it's actually not going to print out, because why it's not going to print out? Because of the fact that this is not a condition. This is not a condition, guys. That's why it says watch out. Don't mix up. All right. This is not a condition over here. This is what? What is this? Right here. The single equal sign.
Single equal sign is assigning a value.
Yes, assigning a value. It's a value assignment operator. Okay. Single equal sign, we are assigning a value, but it's not a condition, right? It is just assigning 10 into a variable called A. It's not comparing this A with 10. It's just assigning the value to variable called A. That's why we cannot use a variable assignment operator, which basically this is single equal sign inside our if statement as a condition. We cannot use that. But what we can use is double equal sign or triple equal sign. Okay, double equal sign or triple equal sign. If you put double, as we said, it will check only the values, right? The numbers. The double equal sign over here is true if A is equal to B, can be different types. It can be different types. For instance, is A equal to 200? No, that's why it will print out false value. But if I put A is equal to 10, it's a true to value. Or it says that right here can be different types. So if I change this 10 to string 10, then it should still print out true to value. All right, we have a little code to write down here. Let's try to write it over. All right, so make a variable called a temperature. You guys know the difference between const and a let, right? So the constant variables, we create them if you don't want to reassign any type of value into the const variable later on, then you can create your variables with const keyword. If you have to assign some sort of another different value to the same variable later on, when you move on the control flow on your code, then you have to create with the keyword let. But for now, we can just create the temperature with the const. Okay, so constant temperature is the temp is equal to 100 degrees. Okay, so it says write some code that tells you to put on a code if it's below 50 degrees. Let's try to write this code with if statement, and then we can move on to switch to. All right. So what can I write? How can I write with if statement, guys?
If
parenthesis open temp
Okay. If
more
10,
than low, it should be low.
okay. If
Okay.
below 50,
Below 50 console.log, well, you should wear a coat. Else
where
a coat.
the code. Okay. Else.
Console log, you don't have to wear a coat.
All right. You do not need a code. You do
Yeah.
not need a code. Okay. So you do not need a code because it's 100 degrees. But if it's below 50, you should wear a coat. Now, how about with the switch? Real quick. As we said, switch start with like this, with the parentheses and curly braces. And inside our curly braces, we can start with our case. Okay, so the case over here, we can put, for instance, we're going to be still using the temperature, temperature 45. Okay.
Is it
Usually,
less
what-
than 50? Is it
usually, yeah, we bring the temperature over here. Okay.
okay?
And the temperature is less than 50. Constant.lock, and we use the break. Okay. If the temperature is
More than 50. Do you not need to take the temperature, the condition into parentheses?
no, you don't have to put it into parentheses.
Okay.
All right. So in this case, we don't have to put it. We don't have to put the default, all right? But what we can do here is that instead of putting the second case, we can put the second case as a default. Oh my goodness, when did I type this caps lock? All right, switch temperature. It is in the case of temperature is less than 50, then you should wear a coat. It says that you should wear a coat for both cases. Now for the single case, you should wear a coat. If I bring it back to 100, okay, and now
Yeah, you need to change the message for the second case.
oh, you're right.
That
Yeah,
one.
I was like, what's going on here? Yeah, you do not need a code. But yeah, you can definitely put another case over here. But the thing about this one is that since we have only two conditions, right? So we don't need this the default if you put that one. All right. So this is how we even more control flow. We did already if else statement. Okay, if we have else and etc. But this part is if else statement. If you have multiple conditions, you can use else if. You guys can definitely check it out.
If we use a switch statement, can we use like multiple conditions in one case? For example, temperature, case temperature below 50 and is not raining. Set to
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. You can definitely use yeah, right after the break, we're going to learn about logical operators. Okay?
Okay.
There's a lot of operators, right? We have comparison operators, we have the ternary operator, if else statements, switch statements, and we have logical operators. Okay? Right after break, we're going to take a look into logical operators. And these are very useful operators in our codes. Okay, it's 6:09. Do you guys have any questions before we take a break?
No
Cool.
questions.
All right, let's take a break. All right, guys, let's keep on going. I hope you guys are back. Cool. As we were saying that we have logical operators too, okay? And we have a logical OR operator, which is defined as double pipe sign, okay? And we have, oops, no, we have logical AND operator, which is defined as double AND sign. Okay, so this one represents OR, and this one represents AND. This is very useful when we try to find the middle section of our condition. Okay, as in previous example, we said constant price is equal to, let's say, $20. Okay, we'll try to identify if the price is right. If the price is bigger than 10, but it is less than 30. Okay, in order to write this portion into code, okay, we have to use something called logical operators. Okay, so let's take a look into logical OR operator first. OR operator, okay? So the logical OR operator checks two values. It will check two values and returns a Boolean. Okay, if one or both values are truthy, it returns the true. If both values are falsy, it returns false. All right, so let's take a look at what we can do with the, let's say we have A and B values. What is that? I'm not supposed to write that down. Okay, A and B values. And we'll try to compare these A and B like this. A or B. Okay, if false is false, if false or false, it's going to be always end up being false. I'm trying to find a way to, how about I type the console.log, console.log, right? Console.log, false or false, and type false or false. We do have the switch over here, which we don't need it anymore. Let me refresh my console. Okay, as you guys can see, false or false will be false. Definition of OR operator, right? Logical operator is that if one or both values are truthy, it returns true. Let me just type 4 more. In this case, I will type true over here. Okay. So false and true, and over here, true or false, and this one is true or true. This false or true and true or false are basically the same thing. Okay, so if it's false and false, it's going to be false. If one or both values are true, then it will be true. Okay, it says if one, basically this side is true, it doesn't matter whether this side is false or true, it's going to be true. If this side is true, as I said, it doesn't matter. The second condition will be true or false. It will always be true. And the true is true, it will be always true. Again, for OR operator, the logical operator, if one or both values, right? In this case, A and B, if one, either A or B, or both of them, right, are true to values, meaning true values, then it returns true, Boolean. If both values are false, in that case, it will return false. All right. For or logical operator, there will be only false if both values are false. Other than that, all remaining, at least one of them is true, then all of them will return true. That is not the case with the, let's give an example for or operator instead of this, so true or false, okay? Let's give an example. Okay, so instead of putting this one, I want to put another constant log over here. I'm going to check if 10 is bigger than 5, right? Or 10 is bigger than 20. So what's going to return, guys? Who can tell me? Is the 10 bigger than 5? Yes, it is true. And or is 10 bigger than 20? It's going to be false. So my return for true or false, what was it? The output?
True.
If one of them is true, then the result will be true. Okay, this is going to be true. If I change this guy over here to 10 bigger than 100, okay, so in this case, is it true? No, it's false. So is this true? No, it's false. So false and false, what was the answer?
False.
Going to be false. All right, so I should change this guy to 100, okay, and see the result. So it's going to be false because both sides evaluate to false condition. That's why, because of the fact that we are using or logical operator, it is returning false. Cool. How about AND operator? How about AND operator? So the function of AND operator is different than the logical OR operator, right? So the logical AND operator, it will check two values and it returns the Boolean. It is very obvious, right? It will check both sides and it will return a Boolean value, which is true or false. The case with this AND operator is that if both values are true, then it will return true. If both true, return true. All right, so for the OR operator, if one or both are true, if one or both are true, then return true. Okay, if both are false, then return false. If both are true, then return true. Let me bring this guy again. All right, so in this case, we're going to use an operator. All right, so based on this statement over here, let's try to figure out what's going to be the result. It says, if both of them are true, then return true. Okay, basically, otherwise, right? If one or both of the values are false, then return false. If one or both are false, return false. Let me copy this guy over here and put it right over here. So for our operator, we said if one or both are true, return true. If both are false, return false. In this case, if both are false, we're returning false. But if one or both are true, then return true. But in this case right here, for AND logical operator, if both are true, return true. In this case, we're expecting this one to be true. If one or both are false, if one of them is false, or both of them is false, then it says return false. So we're expecting this one false, right? And same thing for this guy false, same thing for this guy false. This is our expectation. Let's run it again. All right, false and false is false. False and true is false. True and false is false. And true and true is always true. Basically, it is the opposite of what we have for a logical OR operator. All right. With the AND logical operator, it will be true only if both sides meet our condition criteria. If only both sides meet our condition criteria. All right, let's take a look at right over here. I'm going to copy and paste it right over here. Comment this one out and bring these guys back. All right, who can tell me what's going to be the first one? Is 10 bigger than 5? Let me just do this one. Is 10 bigger than 5? Yes, it's true. So true. And is 10 bigger than 20? False. What's going to be my answer?
False.
It's going to be false, exactly. So with AND operator, logical operator, we're expecting that both sides needs to be true in order to return true Boolean. All right. Otherwise, if one side is false and the other side is true, or both sides are false, then it will always return false. So in this case over here, it will return false. Okay. So if I put one more over here and say that true and false, false. Okay, so it's gonna be bigger than 5, right? At the same time, it's gonna be bigger than 9. Okay, so it's gonna be true and true. It will return false, false, and true. Cool. How about we do this one over here? It wants us to modify the code that we wrote already. Let me go up and check the code over here. All right. Copy, and of course I have to comment this one out too because it will complain that you already created a variable called temp. Not both of them. Let's just do it with if. So it says modify your where code for these conditions. If it's less than 50 degrees, yes. Where code, you should where code. If it's less than 30 degrees, where code and hat. So basically, we can create else if, right? This is our, because of the fact that we have to put another condition right? Another condition. Then we have to put else if. So if it's less than 50 degrees, wear a coat. If it's less than 30 degrees, wear a coat and hat. If temperature is less than 30 degrees, you should wear a coat and hat. Of course, I forgot to close out my curly braces like that. If it's less than 0 degrees, stay inside. All right, so we should just, else if temperature is less than 0 degrees, stay inside. Else, wear whatever you want. Wear whatever you want. So if the temperature is 25 degrees, what's gonna happen now? Because of the fact that
False first, then.
yeah, it will check if else statement right over the first one, right? If is the temperature 25 less than 50?
So no, then skip that and
Is it gonna skip, or because of the fact that our condition is returning a true, is it running this block, or it will skip this one and it will run this one?
yes, like the second one. I mean, not it's gonna skip, but it's gonna check if its condition is met, and it's gonna look the inside. And I can explain. I'm not technically good to explain, but
It's okay. Just say whatever you're thinking right now. Like,
and
which
the next
condition is
the
it gonna run?
first condition is not met because 25, so 50 is bigger than 25.
Yes, so it's true, right?
But also we also have a minute like, and at the same time 30 also bigger than 25.
Mm-hmm.
Also true. But the third one is not correct.
Right. So as we said that with if else statement, right? As soon as it matches with the condition, it will print out that line of code, right? Between these curly braces, code block.
First one, right?
Yes, the first one. And remaining, it will just skip.
Okay.
So in this case, if the temperature is less than 50, what should I see now in the screen? In the console? You should wear a coat.
Mhm.
All right. So in that case, yeah, in that case, for instance, if it's above 55, for instance, is temperature less than 50? No. Is it less than 30? No. Is it less than 0? No. Then what is it? Wear whatever you want. It's gonna be above 50. That's why it will print out the else statement. Okay, wear whatever you want because it's above 50. Now, how do we make sure that we can? In this case, if I put it below 50, it's gonna be always printing out this guy right here. Okay, how do I make sure that if it's
Oh, like I have a question.
yes.
Why cannot we just continue with the state that we learned, like true or false? I mean, why we have to write an else if and else if, you know?
Because we have different conditions over here. Now,
Oh,
we can modify our
we
code over here, the conditions, right? So if I put anything below 50, right? If I put any, like, it doesn't matter if I put like minus 20, right? It will always print out you should wear a hat, right? You should wear a hat. It's not printing out this console, it's not printing out this thing, blah blah blah. But we can modify this code over here. We can modify this line of code to make sure that it will be some sort of in between, like this. Something like in between. Okay? Our temperature might be in between 50 to 30. Right? So in that case, instead of temperature like below 50, what we can do is if temperature is below 50 and if the temperature is above 30.
Yeah, that's one I meant I meant like
Right.
make shortcut.
Yes. So this is why the temperature, I changed the temperature. Okay, let's just put 10 for now. All right, so if the temperature is below 50 and if the temperature is above 30, right? Since we are using AND operator, what when the whole thing will return true if the both sides are true. If one of them is false, then it will return false. Okay, so the fact that we put this one over here, it should say you should wear a coat. And now this temperature right here, if the temperature is below 30 and temperature is above 0, you should wear a hat. You should wear a coat and hat. If the temperature is below 0, then you should stay inside. Otherwise, it will print out wear whatever you want for the conditions that the temperature is above 50. If I put 100 now, let me clear my console. Wear whatever you want, right? If I put something like 40 degrees, you should wear a coat. It's running this part of code, right? If I put something below 30, 25 in this case, you should wear a coat and hat, which is running this piece of code. And if I put something below 0, like minus 25, and it will print out stay inside.
What if you put 30?
Oh, if you put the 30, let's think about it. All right. So basically, let's go one at a time. If the temperature is below 50, yes. And if the temperature above 30, no, then it will skip, right? Because we are using a logical operator. Let's come over here. If the temperature is 30, below 30, no. It's not below 30 because it's equal to 30, right? I mean, we can put the equal sign over here, but if you remove it, then it's going to be false, then it will not run this piece of code. If the temperature is below 0, no, then it should say wear whatever you want, right? But that's the edge cases, right? Edge cases meaning that there might be some situations where you want to compare, but it's not comparable, okay? But it will not meet the condition. It says wear whatever you want. That's not the case. We want to print out this wear whatever you want if the temperature is above 50, okay? But in this case, to meet some edge cases, you can put equal sign over here, right? And to cover this the 30. You can do the same thing with over here. If the temperature is less than equal to 50, and if the temperature is above 30, then blah blah blah. If the temperature is less than equal to 30, right? And temperature is 0, and if the temperature is less than equal to 0, then do that one. So now it says you should wear a coat and hat. So the fact that it was saying if it's less than, right? It's not saying less than equal to, but it says less than. It's just an example, but you guys can definitely modify your code to meet your criteria. All right, logical operators. Example, name, result, blah, blah, blah. We saw that already, right? And logical operator and OR operator. So we have one more logical operator, actually. This is not, okay? So we forgot to mention that one. So logical operators OR and not. with exclamation sign. Right? So the logical not operator, right? The logical not operator can be used in two conditions, actually. It can be used in two conditions. It can convert a Boolean value from true to false, from false to true. It can convert the Boolean values or conditions from true to false or from false to true, false to true. Or it can convert the truthfulness, or how you say, like a truthiness. Basically, like a truthy value, right? We have a truthy value. It can convert the truthy value of a non-Boolean values. Non-Boolean values. It doesn't have to be a Boolean, right? Like, how do we use this not operator? With not, we use true. Basically, it will convert this true to false. Okay, so let's put a sample example for this one. Let's see if they have example over here. Using logical operators, we use that already, and logical operator. Yeah, we'll do this. You did it. Okay, so we will do this fizz bus. Okay. Let me open up this fizz bus. But before we do that, let's take a look into a not logical operator. Let me give an example for not logical operator. False to true, true to false. Okay, so as an example, let me create a variable called late to work. Okay, and it is true. Late to work. Let opposite let opposite of late to work, right? Opposite of late. What we can do is that we can generate the opposite of this late to work. So initially it's a true value, but we can convert this true value into false. Basically, we can write late to work, not late to work. Meaning is that not true, and it will evaluate true, false. And if I type to console.log opposite of late, it will print out false. All right. A logical not operator will convert a Boolean value into a basically it will convert the Boolean value. Okay, if it's true, it will convert to true. False, it will false, it will convert to true. In the case of some false values, right? How about this one? If I say constant a, right? Oh, sorry. If I say constant a is equal to apple, constant log, not a. Okay. Not a. Right? As you guys can see, not a is becoming a false. But is this false value or true to value?
True.
It's a true to value, right? It's a true value. It's a true to value. As we were saying, is that not equal to sign, so logical operator will convert our Boolean value, right? It will convert our Boolean value to the opposite. Or at the same time, if it's a true to value, it will do the same thing. It doesn't have to be a Boolean value, okay? In this case, it's a true value. It will convert to false, all right? In this case, it converted to false. But what happens if I do, okay, and B, instead of putting some strings, we're gonna put empty string. And what's gonna be my result?
False.
Let me,
Can,
this one is, sorry. 1 second, please. Yeah, right now. So, true. This one is a false value, right? Okay. As we said that this
yes, there's 0 at the empty, so there's always false.
empty, right? The empty string was a false value, right? It's among the list of false values over here, right? Whatever you type over here, it will convert the not logical operator. It will convert these guys into true, right? Because these are false values. Everything that you put over here, it will convert to true. But at the same time, if you put true to values, anything like, it can be a number, it can be a string, right? If you put the true to values, it will definitely convert to false. All right, that's just the very simple definition of not logical operator. So we have AND logical operator or logical operator, and we have not logical operator. So don't forget about comparison operators, logical operators, switch, right? Oops. If statements, if else statements, ternary operators, and of course, falsy and true to values. Okay, falsy and true to values. All right, let's try to do this FizzBuzz. It's a really fun project to work on. This project basically tells that given an integer, let me try to get the whole thing. And of course, we gotta put everything into comment it out. All right, the FizzBuzz. Given an integer n, return a string array, answer one indexed where so FizzBuzz, if I is divisible by 3 and 5, so basically it is providing a number, right? It doesn't matter what kind of number you provide it, and 3 and 5 and 15, blah, blah, blah. It's not unlimited because we have a constraint over here. The number has to be between 1 and 10,000, right? It has to be between 1 and 10,000. you can definitely put that limitation over there, but for this one, we don't have to put it, okay? It's just an example. But if you would like to solve this lead code problem, you definitely need to put this constraint, because they will try with the number something that is above 10,000, and your tests will fail. Okay, let's go back again. Given an integer, return a string array where answer I has to be fizzbus. If the number, right, if the number is divided, can be divided by 3 and 5, then you have to return a fizzbus. If the number can be divided by 3 but not 5, you should return fizz. If the number is divisible by 5 but not 3, you have to return bus. Okay. As a string, if none of the above conditions are true, then you should just return the number itself. Example: as an input, they're providing a 3, but as an output, we have an array. Okay, we have an array. Basically, these 3, first it's checking the 1, then it's checking 2, and it's checking 3. Right? First it's checking 1. Is 1 is divisible, right? Is 1 is divisible by 3, 5, 3, 5? No. That's why it's just putting 1 itself. Is 2 is divisible by 3 or 5? No. The number is put by itself. How about this guy right here? Is the 3 is divisible by 3 or 5? Yes, it is divisible by 3. That's why it is putting fizz. Instead of putting number 3, it is putting fizz. All right. Same thing with the initially we're accepting number 5, and 1 and 2 not divisible. 3 is divisible with 3. That's why it's printing fizz. Okay. Is 4 divisible 3 or 5? No, it's just number itself. And why is it printing bus? Because the next number is 5, right? Is 5 divisible by 5? Yes, that's why it's printing out bus. If number is 15, for instance, because of the fact that it is divisible by 3 and 5, right? It is printing fizz bus at the end. But along the way, we have 9 divisible by 3, fizz, 10 divisible by 5, that's why it's buzz, 12 is divisible by 3, that's why it's fizz, and 15 is divisible by both of them, that's why it's printing out fizz bus. Any questions related to this question? Do you guys know how to create a function? Did you guys know how to create a function?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys know how to, yeah, functions part. Yeah, did Mario teach you guys?
Yes, yes, of course.
Oh, cool. All right, so I guess we can work on that. I don't think we will be able to finish before the break, but along the way, we'll try to take a break. Okay. Let's create a function name called fizzbus. Function fizzbus. Okay, this is how we create the function, and we can call the function right over here. Okay. But when we call the function, we'll try to call it inside the console log, because we're trying to display something in our console. Okay. If you write like this, you have to console log your answer inside this function. All right. But if you return something out of the function, then you have to somehow try to display the returning value over here with the help of console log. So console.log fizzbus. Okay. So what are the values over here? What are they called over here? What am I accepting here for my function? they have a special name. Whatever I put over here, for instance, A, B,
Argument,
what?
you give like an yeah, you can write you can actually like it was like at first it was like argument, right? So but you haven't given
Yes.
the argument. Yes.
That's the thing, yes. They're called arguments, right? These,
Arguments.
whatever you provide as a value over here, they're called arguments. Okay?
Yeah.
But what about these guys? What are they called over here?
Parameter.
Parameters, yes. Parameters. Okay? These are called arguments, and these are called parameters. Basically, whatever you provide over here is exactly the same as a parameter, right? Basically, arguments are equal to parameters. If you provide a number over here, which we will create a number over here. Okay, so constant number. Let's just accept 1 for now, or let's just accept 3 as an example over here. The first example, 3. Okay, and then we'll provide the number over here. So now, if I type a num over here, my num is this number over here. Okay, and then that is number 3. All right, everything is happening inside this function over here. Okay. As a result over here, we see an array. Okay. So as a return value, somehow we need to return an array. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to return an array. So before we return array, let's just put this array into a new variable. Let's just call it constant answer. Empty array. Okay, constant answer, and we will return this answer at the end. And then we'll try to display our answer over here. Okay, so now if I put a num, what's the best way to start from 1 up until number?
Have to push.
1 up until number. What is my best way to go over each number? Like if it's 1, right? Next one is going to be 1, 1 plus 1, it's going to be 2, 3, and etc. until n. How can I go through each number until n?
You have to do the plus plus.
Yes, so basically you're talking about the for loop, right? That's my answer. So I will be using for loop to go through each number up until n, right? Up until num. I need to use for loop. So for let I is equal to, in this case, I will be starting from what? So there's
Like
there's 2 ways actually, right? You can either go from 1 until num, or you can go from num, right, until 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can start from 1 until num, or you can go backwards. You can start from num and then go until 1.
so you can do like I don't know, but kind of like you're gonna use like push and unpush, right? Like unshift, right?
Yes, so we're going to be using push. Yes, so for now, let's just start from 1. Okay, let's just start from 1, and then we can go until a num. Okay, so now for let start from 1, and I should be less than what? Less than equal to num. Num is already number. I don't have to put a length. Okay, if it's a string, if it was a string, then I had to put the length. But since number is a number, it has to be I less than equal to number. And I plus plus. Don't forget to open up and close your curly braces for the for loop. Okay, so let I starting from 1, I is less than equal to until num. if you put number 3, it will go until number 3, right? 1, 2, 3, and it will stop. It will not go to the next one. Okay, so in each iteration, we're trying to increase the number over here. Right? So what are we trying to do over here, guys? Let's go one at a time. How can I make sure that if the number is divisible by any type of number, any number, how can I make sure that?
You have to.
What
You
was
have
the
to get
question?
So my question is that, for instance, let me run this shell. Okay, so note. So 3 divided by, so sorry, no, 4 divided by 3, right? It's a 1.33 blah. It is giving me some sort of a decimal numbers, right? I don't want that. It's a floating number, decimal number, whatever you call. It's giving me like that. But what I want is that if I divide by 9 by 3, it should be giving me an integer, right? It's dividing, it's giving me an integer instead of this decimal number. Okay, how do I make sure that, for instance, let num is equal to 9, sorry, is equal to 9, and num, right, and num divided by 3, it's giving me 3. How do I make sure that this num is divisible by 3? Without the, I'm trying to understand, without the remainder, right? If I divide 4 by 3, the remainder will be 1, right? The remainder will be 1. But I'm trying to get the condition where the remainder is 0. Okay, so let's just go to our simple math thing, right? So 4 divided by 3. So we put 1 and we put 3, okay, minus 1. This is my remainder, okay? I want a number that is not provide any remainder. For instance, if I divide by 9, I provide 3 and it's going to be 9, okay? And my remainder will be 0. Okay? If the remainder is 0, which means that this number is divisible by 3 without any remainders.
Maybe
Okay?
you have to round.
Yes, yeah, in JavaScript, we have something called modulus. Okay? It's called modulus. And it is represented by a percentage sign.
Ah, I know that.
Right? The modulus is used to find the remainder of a division between two numbers. Used to find the remainder of the division. Let's make this type of a division of two numbers. All right, of two numbers. If I type right over here, just since this is JavaScript right here, if I type 4 modulus 3, the remainder is 1. If I type 9 modulus 3, what's the remainder?
0.
0. Okay. If I type 7 divided by modulus 3, it will remainder is 3 because up until 6 is good, but after 6 there is 1 left remainder. Same thing for 5. 5, right? So if I type 12 modulus 5, what's going to be? 12 modulus 5?
2.
2. Exactly. So because the 10, right? 10 is divisible by 5, but the remaining is 2. If I type 14 modulus 5, it's going to be 4. Since 15 modulus 3 is 0 and 15 modulus 5 is 0, both of them are divisible by this 15 is divisible by both 3 and 5. So we can use this modulus operator, just like the regular operators that we have, right? Like a 20 is equal to like this. These are the comparison operators, but this is also modulus is a mathematical operator that helps us to find the remainder of the division of two numbers. Okay, so we can use that one. So now we can put if statement over here. All right, let's check if my number is divisible by 3, 5, or both. Okay, let's check by if I, in that case, the I is each number, right? If I modulus 3 is equal to 0, okay, and if I modulus 5 is equal to 0, right over here, guys, the condition over here, if I is divisible by 3 and, right, you see the AND operator, and if I is divisible by 5, what am I printing? What am I pushing into the array? FizzBus. I'm pushing FizzBus into the array. All right, let's come back over here. Let me just put this guy over here so that we can see it, guys, instead of scrolling up and down, right? So if I is divisible by 3, which means if there's no any remainder, okay, and if I modulus 5 is equal to 0, then we have answer that we push FizzBus. That's what it says. If both of them divisible, then push FizzBus. All right, so else if, open up and close the parenthesis and curly braces. Now, for only one value, if I modulus 3 is equal to 0, which means, right, only divisible by 3, in that case, push only fizz. If I is divisible by 3, push only fizz. Same thing for else if I is divisible by 5, push buzz. Okay, if I divisible by 5, push buzz. All right, what does it say? If none of these conditions meet, right, as a last option, we have else. We don't have to put any condition over here. Okay, if none of if the number is not divisible by 5 or 3, or both of these cases or 3 cases doesn't match, then we'll run else. What does that say else? As a string. If none of the above conditions are true, we need to put it as a string. Since each number is a number, how can I convert the number into a string? How can I convert the number into a string? All right, so let num2 is equal to 100. How do I convert this num2 into a string? We have a function called num2 that to string.
To string.
All right, to string. It is the function. I'm invoking it, so it will convert. It's a built-in function in JavaScript. All right, it is built-in function. It comes with the JavaScript itself. So it is converting the number into a string number. So what I can do here is that the same thing. Instead of bus, I just need to do I that to string and call that function. And then I just need to return the answer. At the end of the loop, the answer will contain, right? At the end of the loop, the answer will contain, for instance, the number over here. It will contain this guy over here. So let's run our function. As you guys can see, 1 is converted to 1, string 1, string 2, And since 3 is divisible by 3, we are running right over here. Since 3 is divisible by 3, we are pushing this part right here, fizz. Okay, so if I put a 9 over here, I'm going to change this number to 9. Okay, let's see what should be expecting here, guys. So we should be expecting like fizz, right? Number 4 by itself, because it's not divisible. Number 5 is also by no, number 5 over here, it's going to be buzz, right? Because it is divisible by 5. Is number 6 divisible by 3 or 5? Yes, it is divisible. That's why we put fizz. Number 6 is only divisible by 3, not 5. Is 7 divisible by 3 or 5? No, we just put the 7 by itself. Is 8 divisible by 3 or 5? No, 8 by itself. And 9, of course, divisible by 3. That's why we put fizz. This is what we need. This is what we are expecting. Let's see the result. Okay, the result is 1, 2, right? Fizz, 4, buzz, fizz, 7, 8, and fizz. All right, so let's put the number 15 now. You put 15, it's going to be a little bit different, right? So 9 is fizz, and 10 is buzz. 11 is by itself. Is the 12 is going to be fizz because it's divisible by 3. Is 13 is by itself. 14 is also by itself. And 15 is going to be fizz and buzz. Fizz and buzz. All right. I see 7 and 8, fizz buzz, 11, fizz, 13, 14, and fizz buzz. Yep. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Is it easy? Is it too hard?
A little confused.
Which part? Please tell me.
Yeah, the model formula, like, so I understand like I is percentage like 3 and equal 0. Why is equal 0? That part.
Because it's only divided by 0.
So yeah, the modulus over here, right? Give me 1 second, please. Let me come over here. So the syntax for the modulus is that we have a dividend, okay, and we have a modulus operator, and we have a divisor, basically the dividing number, okay, and the resulting value will be remainder. Okay, so the remainder. So in this case, for instance, in my first loop, what is my number? In my first loop, I is equal to 1, right? So is I is not divided by 3 or 5. So basically I'm pushing I by itself, but the string version, right? All right, cool. So in my next loop, I'm doing I++, which my I became 2. Now in this case, I is 2. I'm going through the loop again. Based on this one, is my I number 2 does it match over all of these? No. It doesn't divisible by 3 or 5 or 2 or 5. Basically, I'm pushing the 2 itself. Okay, 1, and in the next loop, my array is growing. The same array is growing. Now, in the next loop, my I is 3. I number is 3, right over here. And I'm checking, is I divisible by 3? So basically, I 3 meaning is that dividend. In this case, I is a dividend. Okay, is I is a dividend, is a 3 modulus 3. 3 modulus 3 right over here. 3 modulus 3, this one is resulting is equal to 0, right? This is what I'm comparing to. Because of the fact that the modulus is returning the remainder of whatever we have over here, I'm comparing this value right here. Is this value is equal to 0? If it was 4 modulus 3, the remainder value is 1, and I'm comparing this value 1. Is 1 is equal to 0? No. This one is true, right? This one is false. Okay, so is this value true? Yes, it is true because this part is true. That's why I'm pushing this answer. Okay, this right here is returning a value. What is it returning? It's the remainder. Is this 0 is equal to 0? Yes, push this fist. As we increase our number, it just goes the loop until that number, and it will compare every single number along the way. So now it's I is 3. We have 1 and 2 from the first initial 2 loops, right? Iterations. In the number 3, we are pushing this guy over here, fizz. That's why in loop 3, it's going to be fizz. Okay. And now, do I have in my next loop, right? I is 3. In my next loop, I became 4. Is 4 less than equal to num? Is that true, guys? Is 4 less than equal to num being 3? No, it's false. That's why it will quit this for loop and it will jump to the return statement in the next line. Okay, it will not go again because the number is only 3.
Yeah, because when you push the line 209, so you push the feed bath, right? So and then
Bath, yeah.
Yeah, so then number can be like they count from so the JavaScript try to match this, you know, the right, like feed bus has like how many? For 8, right? Then it's gonna match with the number, right?
So in each loop, right, our I, because of the fact that we are using AND logical operator, it needs to match both sides. This side has to be true, and this side has to be true. Basically, our number has to be divisible by both 3 and 5. Okay, both 3 and 5. Do we have any number that is divisible by 3 and 5?
No.
Up until 15? No, right? Up until 15, we don't have any number that is divisible by 3 and 5, both of them. 3 and 5, like int, that meets this condition over here. We don't have it. Since we have only 15, that's why it's printing out fizzbus at the end, because it matches this condition, okay? And then it will push this fizzbus.
Oh, okay. I just didn't get the number 4, 7, 8 because right now I got it because so if it's not much with any answers, it's just jumping out and just keep growing with the like.
Exactly. Yes. It's just initially we created empty answer array.
Yeah.
And now inside our for loop, we're just pushing numbers based on these if else statement conditions. Okay.
Got it.
Pushing numbers. If the number is not divisible by 3 and 5, it will just pushing the string value of that number. Right. So none of these numbers are divisible by 3 and 5. That's why we have 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. Okay. And 11, 13, 14. But the numbers that are divisible by 3 and or 5 or both of them, then we have to put these string names.
Azamat, I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
I don't know what is loops. I don't know what is for loops. So as far as I understood, it's that to get, like if you put 15, just to get the number till 15, right?
Yes. Yeah.
How
so
do I?
talking about the for loop, right?
Yeah. I don't know
So
what is for loops.
the for loop will go through each. For instance, let's try to print out let me just say constant max is equal to 10, right? I would like to print out in the console starting from 1 until 10, 2, 3, 4, okay, until I hit the 10 over here like this. In the console, I would like to see this number. So we can use for loop to print out those numbers. So in the for loop, the first option would be let I is equal to starting from 1, because we would like to start from 1. If we like to start from 0, we would like to print a 0 too, then you have to start from 0 over here. Okay? The first one would be the starting point, initial starting point. The middle portion would be the limit. How far you would like to go until 10, right? So the maximum will be 10. So I want I less than equal to 10 because I would like to print out the 10 too. And the third option would be just increase the I in each iteration. So right now, console.log I, right? In the first loop, I is 0, and I'm running this one over here. Okay, I'm printing out 0. And as soon as I finish console logging, I'm increasing the I, which is initially it's going to be 0. And in my next iteration, I becomes 1, right? I 0, I becomes 1, and I'm console logging 1. In the next iteration 2, and it goes until 10. It will console log 10.
Okay.
All right.
So
Like
if
that.
I don't put this plus plus, it will be just 0 and 10, right?
Yes, if you don't put the plus plus, you have to put plus plus, because otherwise it's to know how to increase the numbers. All right. So this is our for loop. Now, it doesn't have to start from 0. What we can do here is that we can go from max up until 0. So what I'm trying to print out is starting from 10, right? The opposite. So it's gonna go 10, and it will print out 9, and at the end it should print out 0. Okay. Instead of starting from 0, I would like to start from 10. So in that case, we can do vice versa, right? So instead of starting from 0, you know what? Let's just print out both of them. I would like to start from 10. The starting value will be 10, and I'm printing out 10 first. Okay, and I should go up until 0, right? So the number has to be equal to or bigger than equal to 0, and this one I need to decrease it. I need to decrease this one, right? Initially, it's going to print out 10. I is 10. It will print out 10. Now, I minus minus, 10 minus minus means 9. Now, I became 9. I'm printing out 9. And in the next loop, I'm printing out 8. And then it goes until 0. Okay, so if I print this one out, as you guys can see, initially, the first loop printing out from 0 to 10. And my second loop, I'm printing out from 10 to 0. All right, 10 to 0. This is what I was trying to do over here, guys. Let me comment this one out for now. What I was trying to do is that we are pushing right now, right? We can convert this for loop into opposite, like starting from number, okay? And do minus minus, decrease it. So this one, I would like to just copy, get the copy, right? And this is first option, starting from 1 to until number. But this one, I would like to start from number, okay? I would like to start from number and then go until 0. Bigger than 0, and it has to be minus minus. Am I gonna get the same exact result?
No.
Why not? If I put my number 3 instead of number 15, what's gonna be my result? Now, I'm starting from num.
Mhm.
Basically, I'm starting from the top maximum number and I'm going until 0.
You're just gonna reverse it.
Yes, I just want to reverse it, but is my answer will be the same as I was expecting. Let's test it. If I run this one again, as you guys can see, it says fizz 2, 1. But in the output, I should be seeing 1, 2, fizz. It's the opposite.
On shift.
Exactly. On shift is our answer. Okay. What does push do? Push pushes to the end of the array over here. The next one, right? The next one would be fizz pushes to the end. But what we would like to do is put it to the front. We would like to put it to the front. That's why we need to use unshift for the second option. Unshift, unshift, unshift. Okay. So let's run it again. As you guys can see, 1, 2, fizz. Since I'm starting from number 3, right? Because my number is 3, I'm starting from number 3. I'm comparing number 3 with over here. Is this matching? No. Jump to the next condition. Is this matching? Yes. 3 is divisible by 3 and the remainder is 0. That's why I'm unshifting the fizz. Okay. In the initial loop, I'm getting fizz first. Okay, fizz. But in the next loop, since I'm doing minus minus, right? In the next loop is 2. Does 2 match all of these conditions? No. I will just convert the 2 into a string and put it right up front. I put the 2 right over here and right before the fizz. And same thing goes for the 1. I put 1 before 2. And that's why this is our answer. Okay, this is our answer. This is the other way around. Sometimes we might have to reverse it back. Okay, and in this case, you can start from the number. The starting point is important. Are you starting from the max number or are you starting from the minimum, from 0 or 1 or whatever the number starting point you choose to start? Okay, any questions?
So the purpose of unshift, it will start from smallest number, right?
The purpose, no, the purpose of unshift is putting each variable to the front. Now, when we push, right, the push, what it does is that pushes at the end of the array. Okay, it will push at the end of the array like this. It will just keep pushing like this, new values. But what unshift does is that it will push to the front. If I would like to push 4 over here, it will push 4 like this. But if I would like to push 5 right here, it will push and unshift it, right? Basically place it to the starting of the array. Push will place it to the end of the array. Unshift will place it to the start of the array. That's the purpose, okay? But the fact that we are using minus minus, okay, and we're starting from the maximum number, and we would like to see the exact same result as it is right here, okay? If you use minus minus and if you use push, the answer will be the opposite of like this. The fizz will come first, the next 2, the next 1. But we would like to see exact same result, right? The same placement of these values inside our array. That's why we used unshift.
An easy way, you just double reverse it.
Yes, I mean that is possible too. Yeah, you can just if you don't want to use this unshift or just push it, then you can definitely use reverse it at the end. All right, cool. So
That
teamwork.
loop
You guys want to take a 5-minute break?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's take a 5 minutes break, and after that we have a teamwork. I have a very simple task for you guys to do it. It's a simple function. It should be like 10-15 minutes for you guys to work on. All right, timer.